So this is our most current problem. We've got all this sludge from all that rain and the melted snow that we had last week. And it's just a nasty mess. If you can see, the cows are in it over their hooves in some places. And that's just not a good thing for them. It's really not sanitary. It's not good for their health. And we want to do something about that so that they aren't slugging through the mud. I just don't want that for my girls. So we're going to see if we can do something about that today. Welcome to the Squeaky Wheel Farm. Hi, I'm Christine. And today we've got a problem. We've had it for a few days now. All the snow from last week melted. And then on top of that, we got a bunch of rain. So if you can see behind me, we've got a muddy mess. Now, Paul did attempt to clean some of it up with the Bobcat and with the bigger tractor the other day. But it doesn't seem to have done the job. So we're going to try something else. And of course, one of the rules that we have on our farm is always try to use what we have first. I'm not against buying things if we need to for our cattle. For instance, if we needed to buy a load of sand or gravel, anything like that, if he needs to rent an excavator, which would be our next move if this doesn't work. But we currently have a whole lot of wood chips. Now, during the summertime, some tree trimmers were working in the area, and they were able to drop off, I think it was 5 or 6 loads of wood chips, 5 or 6 truckloads. So we have big hills of wood chips. This seems like a perfect opportunity to see if this might work as far as putting some wood chips down. Now, we had a discussion the other day because I had mentioned, well, maybe we just need to get some gravel and put it down. And he's tried that before. And with the amount of sloppy mess that he's not able to scrape away or move, it just sinks down into the mud. And then when he does move it, then we've got gravel out into the pasture. And it's just not a good combination. And he has tried putting big round bales in the past of corn stalks or old hay. And while that does help, it gives the cows some traction. It gives them a dry area to go to get off of that mud. But it doesn't really solve the problem. Corn stalks are not really absorbent, and neither is hay. Straw would help a lot. But once that becomes saturated, that really doesn't do the job either. Now, I think ultimately at some point we're probably going to have to put some concrete down because that would solve one of these problems, which is that it's a high traffic area. And with the cows out here all the time standing around this feeder, it's always going to wear down. We're always going to have low spots that have to be refilled. And so this just seems like it might work. As far as adding wood chips, of course, they'll sink down into the mud, but they will decompose. And we have so much of them that we've got the ability to put down quite a bit that I think is going to make a difference for the cows. And then again, if it doesn't work, then we're not in a permanent solution like we were with the gravel, where now what do you do? Because you got gravel mixed in with dirt, and it's just an awful mess. So we're going to give this a try and see if this doesn't help the girls out. Now, I did want to point out to you that in the background, we've still got pasture. While the grass is not growing, the cows are not stuck on this muddy mess. They do have the ability to travel down a lane behind the barn and go into an area in the back pasture, which is mostly pine trees and sand. And that's where they go when the weather's bad. But otherwise, they want to stand around the feeder, they want to stand around the water, and they want to be in this front pasture. So we've got to make it a little bit nicer for them. on top and drag it out. And there are some hills and swales in this pasture. He's progressively trying to drag a lot of that mud down into the swales. So he was able to put a nice base of wood chips all around here, which is going to help the cows in the short term. We'll probably have to do it again as the winter goes on, but for now it's getting them out of the mud. While they're standing to eat, they're not going to have to stand in hock deep mud. You guys aren't supposed to be in that feeder. Get out of there. Well, that's all I've got for you today. Thanks for watching. Oh, and one more thing. I hope to see you again soon.